pull the whole thing down. I'm going to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's going to be biblical.
Here we go again.
Hey.
Patriots Across The Pond, episode 8, I believe. Doesn't time fly? With me and Elisa V. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, every time that countdown, I just feel like getting up and dancing. It's got such a good beat.
I've got what the 30-second thing.
Yeah.
I've got our actual intro now. I've got as a ringtone on my phone.
Do you? Oh, that's cool.
That's cool. Yeah, it's great. So yeah, no friends today, just you and I. You've got limited time today. Is that correct?
I do. Unfortunately, I got to be off like as close to 11:30 as possible. You know, this week has just the last 2 weeks have been tough because you know my boyfriend's mother is in the hospital, and so we've just had to coordinate a lot of things to get back and forth. So anyway, that's but it has been quite an exciting week, I have to say. I in fact, I can't believe it's Friday because it went so fast, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Well, okay, let's just kick it off because I just want to ask you one thing to start with. Obviously, I've been saying to a few people, look, you want to get off Facebook and Instagram and places like that, and the places to go and get your information because they are full of truthers, and they're not just truthers being swerved in a certain direction. They are people all around the world using their discernment, doing their own investigations. I listen to it. I don't know anything about court cases. I listen to Kyle, Just Human. I don't know anything about executive orders. I listen to John Held, you know what I mean, who goes through them all. I listen to the Middle East. If I want to listen to anything about that, goes to base Patrick Henry. He's got such good information, and so. But when I mention to people, go to Rumble, a few people have said, oh no, they've dug into it, Ask Grok and stuff like that. Rumble is one of the majority shareholders. I've been dug right into it myself. He's owned by BlackRock. Right. So people having little wobbles about things like that, and so I just wanted to ask you, what is your opinion? I'm going to ask you about the XRP conference straight after, but what is your opinion on that? Because we know about Trump's executive orders and this new financial system coming in, and people forget what's happened over the last 8 years plus, right? We've seen with our eyes.
And okay, so as far as BlackRock is concerned, this is my take on the whole thing. You have a company that has been in the public's mindset for how long? Anybody who's dealt with the stock market, anybody who's doing investments, anybody who is a financial advisor, right? It's BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street and all these companies that people believe are where they need to be with and who's running things the right way. So if you have this belief, right, on the part of the people, why would you go mass scale, right? Unless you're a truther or you're curious and you've dug deep and you know what really these companies have been about, why would you go and dismantle the whole thing and change it? Why wouldn't you just infiltrate, take it over, allow the same names, you know, except now they're being run in a benevolent way as opposed to a bad way, and just keep it running? I mean, the white hats are very, very strategic and smart. It also comes down to the idea that you don't want to alarm people. I mean, you know, you're trying to keep things as peaceful as possible. So I truly believe that many of these companies that we're seeing today are not the same structural company that made them so nefarious. And if you look at things like Rumble and this and that, and there's a couple of other companies where BlackRock has there's an involvement. I'm sure there's a lot, but one that was on my top of my mind and I can't remember. I just don't believe that we're looking at the world the way it was years ago.
Exactly. And also, don't forget, we are potentially not looking at the same people we were years ago. And
Yes.
don't forget, I believe in 2020, 21, if what we hear is true, that Trump did merge the Fed into the Treasury, he had Larry Fink in charge of that. Now, Larry Fink is the head of BlackRock. And we don't know either, do we, if Larry Fink hasn't been part of this infiltration himself. You know, look at the World Economic Forum, Bilderbergs and stuff like that. The World Economic Forum used to be hidden behind closed doors. They were all secret. Over the last few years, we've seen everything they've done live on stage. They're telling us what they want to do, turn us into robots, and everyone should be jacked, and all these sorts of things. It's dark to light. It's in the spotlight, isn't it?
Yes, 100%. So and then I'm trying to remember, and you might remember better than me. I remember there was, I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it came from Phil. I don't know if it came from, but it was just one of those things that was out there for a period of time, maybe like 3 years ago, where they did say that BlackRock was going to be a very integral part of a lot of the financial system, but the new and improved and good guy BlackRock. So yeah, I think people really, like you said, have to use their discernment, and they have to, especially in our community, because much of this stuff we were told, we read it, we knew. And, anybody who's new to the movement and has awakened recently, you're going to catch yourselves up. Like, first you're going to go through a lot of what was dark, and you're going to be catching up on all that, and then you have to kind of catch up and realize that the infiltration happened. And you're right, it's typical brilliant, amazing Trump and the team, where they throw everything in front. They make it, they put it into the light so we can really see what that agenda was all along. And yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing on that is the fact that a lot of people say you need to, look at it from both sides and stuff. I've looked at it from every angle you can imagine over the years. I've used my discernment to another level, because we've all been hoodwinked and stuff. But Rumble wasn't a big platform when we all went on it, and it has grown and grown. And it's grown because we're on it and we're speaking the truth. Whereas a lot of people, that if they do send me stuff that goes the other way, right, they're normally watching it on YouTube and stuff. And I say, you have to question the fact that we were all banned off YouTube. We all got banned off Twitter. Now Twitter is a battlefield. But you have to be mindful of all these people that stayed on YouTube and why they were allowed to stay on and what they were putting out, because they were putting out all this anti-Trump stuff and negative, and Trump's in the Ep8 files, and Trump is this and Trump is that, and everything. So you have to be mindful of what happened with all those platforms. And don't forget, Telegram opened up. Still, people won't come to Telegram, but Telegram was the most amazing place for us to go when we all got shut down off Twitter. And it is still by far, I think, the best platform out there to do everything on. Rumble's the best for videos, right? There's like Patreon, and people are putting stuff out on Pilled and things like that. But these are all places that the truth is coming out. And YouTube suppressed it, Facebook suppressed it, Instagram suppressed it.
I was just thinking of something, like you and I always talk about, like how even in the awakened community, we're getting, or have been or continue to be psyoped in ways, but also we're starting to look at things in a very different like a different perspective all of a sudden. Like you and I got into the whole discussion the other day, and I don't remember. I think we spoke a little bit about it with Joe and Scott on Tuesday, but you and I spoke about it a little bit at length, that we were saying like what, like we had people that we admired and we liked, whether they were, you know, particularly we'll use the entertainment industry, and we liked them because they were talented and they were in great movies and they were terrific actors and entertainers. And then we got this dose of news, right, through channels, right, that us truthers go through. And all of a sudden, a lot of these people were evil because we found out some, whether it was somebody that just was talking horrible stuff all the time and, you know, talking bad about whether it be, you know, Trump or a lot of these other agendas that, you know, as truthers, we started to realize were, you know, hurting us through the years. And they would, and then these people were taking that side, and all the exposure that's happened. And then we start hating these people, like violently, viciously hating them. And then you and I were talking about the fact like, what if they were part of the movie? What if they were a good guy playing a bad guy, right? Is that how involved all of this is, that we get fooled, and not only just fooled, but as information comes out, we're seeing different angles of it. So, you know, it's no different with a lot of these organizations, like you were just saying. And I was just thinking, what if, when we talk about, you know, being censored, right? Obviously, it was done so fast and furiously during the 2020 election, right? And then it continued. But you just said like Telegram was like basically like a safe haven for all of us to go to get our information, to share, to not worry about being. What if that was the plan?
Yeah, exactly. I think it was set.
Plan, like get them all off all these other platforms, get all the truth in one location, and make it so that that's where we want everybody to operate, and make sure they're sharing and they're interacting, right?
That's why it's got a 1.7 speed button on Telegram, and no other channel has. It's 1.5, 1.75, 1.25. I've always laughed about that. And don't forget, Pavel Durov, I think that's his name, who owns Telegram. He got arrested in France, didn't he? But he had, we started seeing stuff coming out about him with ties to the World Economic Forum, sort of young leader and things like that. Oh, you know, you can't look at things like that and go, oh my God, it's all gone wrong. He's a weffer, right? But we're just saying there, when we turned against these people, now we've seen lots of photos and people acting weird, right? And if these people are paedophiles, right, fuck them, right? We do not like them, obviously. But some of them might have had to play a role pretending to be, to infiltrate or whatever they've had to do. And don't forget that we saw a lot of these people in COVID acting mad, doing all those weird videos, and you know, Ellen DeGeneres upside down with their legs like that, yeah, and tarot cards and all the soldiers behind in reflections of the glass. Madonna doing, singing into, you know, videos and stuff like that. But maybe they were acting there. And don't forget, we've seen a lot of these people in boots and ankle monitors. Maybe they were put on by the White Hats. You don't know, to push this.
We don't know. What I want to say, though, if any of those people are watching our show, if you are a patriot and you've been helping this movement, like, we are so grateful, because you have put yourself in a position to be hated, to be made fun of, to, you know, have horrible things said about you. So for, like we said, if they're pedophiles and adrenochrome users, fuck you. You probably don't even, you're probably not there anymore. But if you are a good guy playing a bad role for this country, we're so eternally grateful.
100%. I mean, even look at Tom Hanks in Castaway with that football with that handprint on it, that we've seen all those pictures of that.
Yep.
You know, on people's walls, and Jay-Z's sweatshirt and things like that. Yeah. I mean, if that's real, they are fucking vile. Right.
Right. If it was just disclosure, you know, to say, hey, we told you. And if it's not, and they are trying to, you know, awaken people and show them what the truth is, and putting themselves out there, you know, listen, we're we're podcasters, right? We have followings, you know, like we don't have the kind of followings that these people have or the name recognition or anything like that. And occasionally you get a really nasty comment, right? And it doesn't feel nice. Imagine like thousands and, you know, thousands of people saying awful things about you, but you're, you know, I mean, it's no different than what Trump and, you know, and all these people have done. They have just put themselves out there in such a way that they are taking the slings and the arrows for the sake of the movement and the sake of bringing us all to a better, beautiful way of life.
But I'm sure you and I would do that, if depending on who asked us to do it. Because, you know, if we had a message from God, say, I want you to play this role, or the military came to us or something like that with photos and documents that this is what these fuckers are up to, and we need you and your acting skills to take them down, you and I would do it if we were good at acting.
Yeah, if we had that talent.
Well, we might have. Have you ever tried? Have you been offered a Hollywood role?
I've never been offered a Hollywood role.
No.
I've been in a couple of school plays, you know, but that was about it. But exactly, their talent, that's their talent. You know what I mean? The military has their talent. The digital soldiers have their talent. Everybody's putting whatever their talents are for the good of where we're going. So I wanted to, not to change the subject, but on this whole idea of truth, do you happen to have we spoke briefly about...
I've got some videos here if that's what you want.
Yeah, because we spoke briefly about Dave from X22 and the spotlight show he did with Bix Weir. And anybody who doesn't know Bix Weir, he is he's a very he's an expert when it comes to precious metals, especially silver. He's, you know, a lot of us have followed him. I know that Phil Godlowski, that's where I first heard of Bix, you know, in terms of how he viewed a lot of what's going on with the precious metals. But he did a spotlight, and there's something very interesting about this, because while he generally speaks about silver, he was also talking about a little tidbit having to do with Epstein. And, you know, think back, was it a month and a half ago? Maybe it was a little more than that. Maybe it was like 2 or 3 months when they were going to release the Epstein list. And then, you know, everybody was giving so much shit to Pam Bondi. And then they were pissed off at Kash Patel and Bongino. And what are they doing? And they're protecting these people because they're not releasing it. And many of us who kept our heads on and said, wait, there has to be more to this than that's the obvious. What's really going on? Knew that this was a much more sophisticated plan that they were doing. And so the question that I think most of us were asking, well, why would they hold back that list? Right? There's got to be some reasons to it. And if we look at, and what I love about this whole movement is that you cannot separate the financial from the geopolitical and the good and the bad. It's all interconnected. So now we're looking at a situation where this is kind of geopolitical, evil people running the world. Okay, it ties right into the banking system. So the clip that we're going to show is very interesting, how Bix talks about the involvement of Epstein and the implications to the banking system, one bank in particular, Chase, JP Morgan, and how that would potentially cause so much damage, and hopefully will, but it has to be done in a way that people don't freak out or, you know, cause mass pandemonium out there. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I'll set this up. It's about 15 seconds before you wanted, just as a little run-in.
Sure.
But just want to say to everyone out there, or anyone that's listening who watches this, whenever you hear something, this is what I do. Bicameral think, Burning Bright talks about that all the time. Look at every situation and go, who's doing it? Are the good guys in control of that, or the bad guys in control of that? Now, if you see something bad and you have a wobble or take a black pill, whatever you want to do, a lot of people don't like that word, whatever, and do that. Think about it and think about, could it be done for a purpose to wake more people up? And, you know, people say to me, but they're not waking up. I know, but every day someone else does. And this is what it's about. When Trump said, we are giving power back to you, the people, in his 2017 inauguration speech, If you go back to the people now, they're not fucking ready for it, are they? At all. They need to get people to a level where the military comes in, I believe. Maybe the people need to all go out in the streets and go, we ain't having this anymore with sticks and bats and all that stuff. Then the military go, no, hold up, everyone go home, put the EBS on, it's time, they're awake, sort of thing. So just be mindful of that. But I'll just mute myself and play Bix. Just wave at me when you want it to stop, okay?
Okay, I think it was around, what did I say, 30 minutes?
Sorry, my mic was off. Yeah, it's just 27 minutes and 7 seconds, you said. So it's just a little bit before that. It's all set up. I'm all ready to go.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't, there is no limitation on the amount of derivatives that can be thrown at anything. They could save the system with the derivative bubble. It doesn't mean anybody's going to trust that system anymore. And that's the main thing, faith and trust in the US dollar and all fiat money and all money in general. What do you trust? What do you have faith in? And you look at what happened to our government and especially on the pedophile side, which is absolutely 100% linked to JP Morgan and the Epstein situation.
How is that linked? I know Epstein was a client.
He wasn't a client.
Okay. Well,
he was a client, but he brought in more money than anybody else into JP Morgan's sourcing deals. He brought in Google, he brought in Microsoft, he brought all those customers to Jamie Dimon and friends through his blackmail situation and all that. So he was getting paid massive amounts of money by JP Morgan Chase. Now, the board of directors is absolutely interlinked with businesses owned by Epstein. And Jamie Dimon, the number, Jess Stanley was literally reported to one guy, and that was Jamie Dimon. Jess Stanley he was the banker at JP Morgan who ran the show for Epstein, got him all his cash, put all these deals together and ran the show. And the girls used to call Jamie Dimon Jamie Demon.
Really?
He's so vicious. Yeah. And you can, Wall Street on Parade, go to that website, and they did a big, many exposés on that stuff. And yeah, that's why Trump isn't, pulling the plug on the whole Epstein thing. It's because he knows that you pull that string and you take down the largest derivative bank on the planet, JP Morgan Chase. Literally, board of directors were co-owners of companies that Epstein they were all in on it.
So they were all in on the pedo network. They were all in supporting the pedo network.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if the Epstein stuff actually came out, and it would destroy, it would just start a domino effect.
Oh yeah, you take out the largest derivative holder on the planet as far as banks are concerned, and that's JP Morgan Chase. You got counterparty risk on every single financial instrument on the planet. I remember Jamie Dimon was bragging that out of his money center in Florida, they did $5 trillion a day in transactions, and everyone's like, what kind of transactions are we talking about? Every day, 5 trillion. And he wasn't lying. That's how literally unknown that side of our economic system is. What is a trillion? What's a quadrillion? In these days, it's a little zero at the end of a line of numbers and digits on a computer.
So when you say transactions, is this people going to Epstein Island or business like when you?
No. So the transactions that Epstein brought in was for the private banking side of JP Morgan Chase. And he got paid tens of millions of dollars for bringing in new deals to JP Morgan. Having said that, yes, it's all interlinked with Epstein needed a lot of cash for, to run his game.
Right.
And all those cash withdrawals, millions and millions of dollars of cash withdrawals, went through one bank, JP Morgan Chase. That's the only bank that was dealing with Epstein since probably, I think HSBC was there in the 90s, but since the early 2000s, even after he was busted the first time for supposedly soliciting young girls. Yeah, and Jamie Dimon was brought to court down in the Bahamas and said he didn't know anything about it, even though it was all, he didn't even know who Epstein was, is what he said. Even though it's all over the front page of it, the New York Times and everything about what Epstein was doing. They were still banking him and not reporting the amounts of cash he was taking home every month, like $500,000 a month type of thing, just massive amounts of cash he's pulling out.
So let me ask you this. Why did they call, you said Jamie Dimon was called Jamie Demon. What did he do to, I guess, the women?
I don't know. I don't know. That was their nickname for him. Obviously it wasn't. A lot of this is not just, massages and sex type of thing.
Right.
If you know about like the Wiener laptop and the information they have like on Hillary there, you cringe at what these people do. And that
so it's not what you're saying. It's not just sex; it's other things they were doing
to the girls. Correct.
Right.
And some of it's ritualistic, and it's just. I remember going down this path with the Pizzagate world and all that before they shut down. I mean, I know so many friends who lost their YouTube channel because they just started talking about Pizzagate, and no, that could not be revealed. And it's all true. It was the insanity of what happened. The world's, the big secret was getting out. So they just basically stifled free speech in America. And it's just insane.
Yeah. I mean, they've done this.
Right.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack, right? And, you were talking before about this idea of the, I just lost my train of thought.
Right, while you just have a think, I'm just going to play this other video.
Okay,
right?
okay.
This is essential, I think, for people to listen to.
Imagine this, the day after the real proof drops. Not rumors or flight logs, but undeniable footage of world leaders doing hideous, unmentionable things to children. The world reacts with horror. Governments crumble. Markets collapse. Chaos spreads. Why? Because when power is suddenly removed without a plan, a vacuum forms, and nature abhors a vacuum. Now imagine you hold that proof, evidence implicating presidents, billionaires, architects of global control. You could release it, or you could use it to force them to surrender, dismantle their networks, and retreat without war. That's not corruption, that's leverage. And leverage is how you remove power without triggering collapse. To the doubters who say Trump is on the list, ask yourself, if that were true, why did they deploy everything to stop him? Lawfare, fake investigations, a CIA-signed Russia hoax, even attempts on his life. If they had the leverage on Trump, they would have used it already. But they haven't, because they don't. I wish Trump didn't have to lie. I wish there were another way. Maybe this bizarre, out of sync with MAGA behavior is the wink and the nod. Maybe acting out of character is the message. This isn't about feelings. It's not about outrage or hashtags. It's about power and how it's strategically neutralized. You don't take down the Illuminati or New World Order with a lawsuit. You do it with leverage. Silent, invisible, world-shaping leverage. My friends, we are all anonymous, and welcome to the real world.
Took me ages to find that channel now where all those anonymous videos are posted, but I found it now. It's great.
So well said, so profound. And what I was going to say before was, we keep saying, and a lot of the people in our community say, oh, we have to wake everyone up and wake everyone up. Like, yes, I think that's an aspect of it, no question. But I think the bigger picture, like the anonymous guy just said, is that you're dismantling an entire system that's been around forever. It's not just about waking. Yes, more people will wake up in the process. There's more information out there. There's more people talking. The vibration is raising, et cetera, et cetera. But it's also about the collapse. I mean, think about Jamie Dimon, one character, okay? He was there during the collapse, you know, like his name, I think, became more in the forefront during the 2008 collapse and all of that, right? He became a name, more of a household name for, you know, people. And think about this guy, what he apparently was doing and how he was working with Epstein and how the bank was behind it. So let's just say you have people that are not awake, and are they going to start freaking out about their money? Are they like, you can't have this mass hysteria. You can't just have this whole collapse. It's not just about waking people up. It's about doing it in a way that there's an order to it. And if these guys, like the video just said, if they are also trying to infiltrate and turn the system around, of course you're going to use these people that are in those positions, right? You're going to use them. Now, my own personal opinion is that you're going to use them, and as soon as, if it's true, this demon aspect of what he might have been involved with, right? Just using him as an example, Diamond, they're probably going to get rid of him. They're going to get rid of him. Like they're going to use him and they're going to get rid of him. You know, if it's other people maybe within the systems that are not as nefarious, they're just corrupt. And I am making that distinction because if you rip someone off financially versus doing awful, horrible things to girls and to children, those are two different things in my opinion. You know, one you can go to jail for, the other one you don't deserve to be on this earth anymore. So I believe that we're not going to know if this guy's still around. You know, Jamie Dimon, for example, is it him? Was he, you know, used to play himself? Did they just get the information and dispose of him? Like, we're not going to know that. We're just not going to know that, especially right now. But I can tell you, because I work with a lot of people in the 3D financial / banking, legal, accounting world. And Jamie Dimon is revered. He's brilliant. He's smart. He's this, he's that. And maybe he was, you know, I'm not taking any of that away from him, but that doesn't mean he wasn't evil.
Well, you don't know how many people have been replaced either, do you? With actors, clones, CGI, all this sorts of stuff we've seen. That, you know, we have heard that the most savage people were taken out, you know, that's no deal sort of thing. But you don't even know if they put some sort of chip in any of these people. If you divert from the plan or don't do exactly what we tell you to do, will explode your brain.
Exactly.
You know? And don't forget as well that in the Joe M video, right, the plan to save the world, they said they had a choice, right, to do a coup, the military coup, and remove whatever cabal puppet was in the White House at the time, Hussein, right, or do it the legal way. So they've approached Trump. And don't forget what Phil was saying, whether it's true or not, when he says that phone call came in, okay, I'll do it, you know, and they had to do it slowly, but they had to do it so that there was no civil war and civil unrest and people going mad and losing their minds. So the best way to do that, to wake people up, right, at a slow pace, is if those people that they're trying to wake still thinks everything's the same.
Yeah.
You know, this is why we're seeing, you know, Tom Hanks appearing on Graham Norton on New Year's Eve and all that, and we're going, hold up a minute, wasn't he in Gitmo 4 years ago? Right. And all this sorts of stuff. You just talk about his brother playing him, stuff like that, because they look very similar and stuff. And do you know what? I actually think, right, and if Trump's brother did die, God rest his soul and all that, but do you remember Trump's brother passed away in 2020 or 2021 or something like that? What if they took him out of the picture and all that, and Trump's no good at golf, right? His brother's the golfer, and everything we've seen out on the golf course, like, we've seen so many different versions. With white hair, you know, silver hair, gold hair, the whites around the eyes. It's just pay attention to these things, enjoy the show, because it's, if you believe in this Q military operation, which you and I do, things have been going on for a long time. Yeah. Listen to Charlie Freak, they've been going on for a lot longer.
And I do not believe that they asked Trump and he just like decided, and like I think he was on one of the interview shows, and my mom always says this. She's like, I watched the interview, and he was with Melania, and she was saying, he has to, I'm not going to get it exactly right, but basically they were explaining how he came about making the decision to run. I just don't believe that. I think he has been destined for this for as long as he's been around. And if we know anything and believe the Clooney family line, he's part of that. And this is their destiny, so to speak, right? And has been their destiny. But that's how they presented it, right? That's how they presented it to the public and how they brought him in. I mean, why were people asking him, of all people, all businessmen, there are so many successful business people. There's so many people that have built cities and skyscrapers and all this kind of stuff. Why was he, of all people, people were asking him, would you ever run for president, back in the 80s? Like, why him?
Well, see, this is something I think as well.
Like, it's rhetorical,
the Q team is less than 10, right? Of those, 3 of them are non-military, right. I believe. I think that's the quote.
That's what they say, right?
Yeah. However, how do we know? And people always go, well, the 3 that are non-military are Trump, Dan Scavino, and whoever, right? Honey Badger, shall we say, Steve Bannon, whatever like that to say that. But how do we know? Trump was a military man when he was young, wasn't he? How do we know Trump is not one of those 3? He's actually one of the other 5 or 6.
We don't.
And he's been part of this military operation the whole time, which may be why the military love him so much, because he's certainly got their backs. Anyway, that's one little discussion we've had, and we're 40 minutes in.
I know.
I just want to ask you quickly about, have you got any more to say about that?
No, I guess what I always feel, and like sometimes, you could get chills when you talk about this stuff, which I think is an indication that you're onto something, like it's a sign. But I just feel like there's so much of this. And yes, I think they have left us so many clues, and the answers are there. And you have these amazing people that we watch that will sit there and do these decodes and put the timestamps and the numbers and go back, like, so brilliant and so creative the way they can see into this, and get sparked and this leads to this, to this, to this, that you say that has nothing, like, how did they get all the way over there? It's so far away. But I'm sure that you could probably figure out all the answers if you were inclined to, because they've left us so many clues and so many breadcrumbs, and probably in some areas they leave you a whole loaf of bread, if your eyes are open. But the point is, like, do you have the time, and can you do it, and do you have that kind of talent? And if you're not doing that and you're not following it, or you're just not going as deep as some of these other people do go, I still believe that for the normies and the people that don't get it and are just, they have to make it seem very organic, I guess is the word, as opposed to strategic. So that, like the Rose Garden and the ballroom, there's people that, I'm not talking about the ones screaming and yelling like idiots about how much it's costing and all of that, right? Who knows if that's the controlled opposition, but the people that are just like, oh, it's so nice. They're like, my mom was kind of like that. It's so nice. They're doing this decorating and they're redoing this. And so you have that element of people that's what they want to believe. You can't just break their psyche. But I do think that everything we have seen for God knows how long is all part of a scripted plan.
Exactly. Don't forget as well, here's another thing, and I love this spitballing. And Joe said the other day, I love just getting on with people I don't know, even though we know each other, you and I, but with them the other day, and just shooting the shit. He said, and excellent. But here's another thing for you. How do we know that Matrix Q code breaker, right, who does these amazing decode, and some of these others that do decodes are not military as well, and are pushing this in from like Gene decode. I mean, he doesn't do that sort of stuff, but he's telling us military things, right? About the tunnels and the bases and things like that. Maybe there, so many of these people are in the military, and they're going, right, now's the time. You know,
they're activated, so to speak.
You know, the people haven't got that. Show them that decode on Charlie Kirk, the 11,654 days and all that sort of stuff. Get that out there into, you know, let everyone know there was a YMCA at Gitmo. You know, put it out there, feed it into the narrative.
Yeah.
Brilliant times, eh? Brilliant times.
Just so, it's so exciting. And so anyway, if I don't know if you wanted to go into anything else, but I thought I would share a little bit about the events this week.
Yeah, I want to hear about your XRP conference. I know you ain't got time. I'm going to do a quick fire round on all that if you have to go and just run through.
Okay, we'll keep going until I have to go. I have to like 11:30, so another 10, 13 minutes, because it's 11:17, so Eastern time. So yeah, I didn't actually go to the conference. It was called The Swell, and it took place in downtown Manhattan in I guess it's like the Chelsea area, 23rd Street, 24th Street. I went to the party, and it was a kick-ass party. I mean, there were a number of people there, obviously, who were there for the conference, and a lot of the information that they gave and talked about. And maybe we could get some. I actually was thinking. Do you know Chip and Jeff from On the Chain?
No.
Okay, so they were at Mel Carmine's Quantum Summit. And I'm not sure if they were at Quantum Summit 1 last year because I wasn't there. But this year, in this past March, they were there. And I don't know if you know, Mel had his Quantum Summit on the 8th and 9th of March. So it adds up to 17. But anyway, yeah, that was purposefully done. Anyway, they are very well, they are very knowledgeable about XRP and about crypto and digital assets and that sort of thing. And so I bumped into Chip, and he was actually doing some live streaming. I think he went past me at one point, and I was like yelling into the thing, hello. But, and so I asked him if, maybe he could come on and we could kind of go down that rabbit hole a little bit. And especially that he was there and he was at the conference. And I know he's also eager to do a little recap also on Mel's channel. So we'll get him, and that'll be an interesting thing.
But you sent me some pictures of was it David Schwartz and Brad Garlinghouse were there?
Yeah, so I'll tell you. Okay, so I'm going to move from like any kind of expert whatsoever to just your average person who was there. And so we went to the party, and there was a bunch of us. Of course, Mel was there, and he came up with his wife, Amber, and a few other people. And it was just it was a great party, DJ, food, lots of like-minded people together. And then Brad Garlinghouse came in. I mean, people thought he might, but he just natural. Like if you didn't know it was him, you wouldn't know it was him. Like he was just, very unassuming and friendly and smiling. So I did have the opportunity, I guess it's the pushy New Yorker in me. And I just mushed, like literally mushed. I'm small. So like I was just mushing through the crowds until I was right there. And so I got a photo taken with him. And then he was like on one side, and then David Schwartz was there on the same side, but then he started making his way across the room. So like the whole room shifted. And then once again, I like squeezed myself on this little stage and was able to get a picture together with David Schwartz. So it was fun. It was like fanfare, and it was actually fun. But I understand that they're going to be having this again in New York next year. And it's just I get the feeling that it's going to be a very different energy next year. Like if everything goes the way it's supposed to go. Let me say this. They had a limit to how many people could go to the party. So it was intimate. I mean, there were a lot of people there, but it was still an intimate feeling. And I have a feeling with everything that we expect to happen with XRP and the new financial system, et cetera, I think that next year I heard a rumor, I don't know if it's true, but they were going to kind of open it to a lot more people. And I think the only reason that would happen is if more people knew about it, right? Because people still have no clue. We actually had to wait online to get into the hotel where the party was, and people were passing, just regular normal people, and there was signs, XRP community. They even had signs on. They had a pretzel truck outside, which, by the way, if anybody knows who that guy is, they were like the best pretzels I ever had in my whole life, big pretzels. And so it all had XRP. It was all branded with XRP, and people were walking by. They had no clue, so we know that the marketplace, the audience, even though we feel like it's big, is so small in comparison to what's going on. So the energy was great. It was a lot of fun. There were a lot of people that were dressed in, jackets that were all like XRP. They had some great swag. If anybody is watching this show and knows who the DJ was, he was great. I mean, the song selection, the way he just took control of the music at that event, it was really a fun thing. And bottom line is, I think we're getting that much closer. I think I told you my story about the Philippines and sending money.
Yeah.
It's just instantaneous. So how else can how else do we account? It's in use. It's just a matter of it being announced. So, more or less.
So the buzz there was amazing.
Yeah.
You've got the main people there behind XRP and stuff like that.
Yes.
The whole thing was confident, and this is what's going down. So what would you say to the people experiencing that, and obviously being good mates with Mel and everything Mel says and all this sorts of stuff, that say XRP is a shit coin and all that, and Bitcoin is the only way forward? Now, we've looked into this so much, and now Bitcoin it might be a good store of value, but it's not going to ever be used as some sort of currency, is it? It's just too slow, bulky, not fast enough, all these sorts of things. So your experience there, what would you say that XRP is? I know you're not a financial advisor, right? But this is the direction we're going in.
Well, I want to put a little pin in that for a second, because listen, I don't know how to say this. There are a lot of people, a lot of very smart, intelligent, wealthy people who know how to make money, who have been, have far more money than me and have made decisions that have put their lives in a different trajectory, right? They still are thinking about XRP as just another crypto.
Yeah.
They are still not understanding how deeply this goes into the new financial system. They don't follow, the intelligence that we do, the Q, all this stuff that goes into understanding what's really going on. And so I just had this conversation with someone yesterday. He had a whole bunch of XRP and he sold it because he just doesn't think it's great. And that's his prerogative. And he's investing in another crypto that he's just making so much money with. And it's, according to him, it's faster than XRP, and that the main reason that XRP is not a good investment is because there's too much of it out there. Now, this person I admire this person very much for many reasons. They're a good person and everything like that. But the problem I have is that you can't understand what XRP is all about and what's going on unless you really know what's going on behind the scenes. And so I was dropping some little bombs about different things. We started talking a little bit about silver, and he is viewing this as a broker because he was in the financial world for a long time. And I said, you cannot view this through the same lens that you view trading a stock. And that's how he's viewing this. So you asked me, what would I tell people? I would tell people that you should learn as much. You shouldn't listen to us. We've kind of done our homework, and we believe we understand what this is all about and why this is a phenomenal aspect of the new financial system, how it is going to allow for the movement of money in an unbelievable way than we've ever seen, how it's not tied at all to the SWIFT system, how it is, there's so many levels to what this is, what is going on. So do your own homework, but it's a very, it's utility, but it's also currency. There's so much about it that does not fit with all the other whatever. I don't know if you could call them digital assets per se. Are they just crypto? Because we know that XRP is, gold backed and has real value to it. So I don't even know what you'd say. I mean, I would say just start doing some homework, follow Mel, follow a lot of these other experts that are out there every day talking about XRP, just use your discernment and looking at all the things that Trump has said and all the little breadcrumbs and the clues that he talks about and all the symbols. And why are they only focused on this one?
Well, Trump put out that, I was going to say tweet, truth, didn't he, a while back, saying XRP, XLM and something else. I think Solana or Cardano or something like that. All the Bitcoin people went absolutely mental, didn't they? Until Trump put out another one about an hour or two later who said, oh, and Bitcoin and something else, didn't he? It's just, it's like betting on a horse race. You've got to pick your horses and sit on them. I don't want to get involved in trading. I don't want to buy 10,000 of these, watch them go up £4, English money.
Well, that's the other
something else, and then make another £3 here and all that sort of stuff. I'm just going to sit and wait. Like I say, if it all goes to nothing and the truth comes out and all the fucking criminals get arrested, I'm going to be a rich man anyway.
Exactly. And that's the other thing I was trying to explain, that the reason we're involved in this is very different than the reason of people who trade, who are looking, they're following it every day. They're looking up, it goes up, 20 cents, $5, $10, it goes down. And they're looking at it much differently. I said, listen, you have to do what you want to do. If you're looking to just make money, God bless you, then you're not going to probably make a lot of money in the next 3 weeks on XRP per se. So you do what you have to do. But if you're also looking at this beyond money, which we're all anticipating that the value will be there, but it's also about taking down a system and replacing it with a system that's going to help humanity in a very different way. That's why most of us are, yes, we're hoping it'll be profitable and we'll be able to do a lot of great things with the money that we make, but it's a different mindset, I guess is what I'm saying. And some people just look at it like, what did I make last week? How do I cash out? And that's not the mentality of, in my opinion, what XRP, XLM, anything we were just talking about with those assets, what they're about.
Yeah.
You either have that mindset or you don't. It doesn't mean one is worse than the other. They're just different, a different way of looking at it.
Exactly. Perfect. That was a wonderful little roundup there. Now, how much longer have you got? You got a few minutes and stuff?
I technically don't, but I could if there's an interesting conversation.
Oh, well, no. Did you want to? I've got Rambo and Dave up here. They were just talking about 11.3, I think. Do you want to just?
Yes, let's do that.
And then I have got a few other videos saved that I can just waffle on and go through this. But let's just play this. I think it's 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
Dave, I want to play one more before you pull up the file stuff, but do you have thoughts on this one?
No, let's keep going.
Okay. All right. If you could pull up those files for this next one. This is the last one.
Beautiful. They took the files, threw them all over the phone, all over the floor. They were all over the floor. And they took pictures of them. This is my office. I said, what the hell? That's not my office. They took files. They threw them all over. And they took pictures and they released them to the public that this is President Trump's office. We caught him with all of this stuff like it was all over the floor of my office. These are crooked people. These are dissent. So don't ask me about, did you go after Letitia James, in my opinion, and I only say in my opinion because I guess the lawyers would prefer that I say that because I have a much stronger opinion. She's a total crook. She's a lowlife. Comey's a dirty cop. Bolton actually helped me a lot because he was crazy. He's the one, him and Cheney, a couple of people got Bush to go out and blow the hell out of the Middle East and then then leave. And actually Bolton helped me because every time somebody saw Bolton standing behind me, foreign countries, they conceded. You know why they conceded? Because they said, Bolton's a nut job. Trump is going to take us to war. But I don't listen to people that are stupid. Go ahead.
Wait, let me get this straight. He threw in a Cheney Bush Iraq war reference, and the next day Dick Cheney died.
We didn't even touch on that yet. Cheney's
Good God.
Cheney dies 11.3.
And announced on 11.4.
Correct.
Crazy.
Oh, shit.
Well, wait a
Yeah.
second. Then that brings more credence to this because Dan
Yeah.
Scavino, 26 minutes in, so 12:26 a.m. would be 00:26 military time.
Yep.
Think about it logically. The only way is the military fully controlled save and spread once 11.3 verifies as first marker. He posted that 26 minutes after 11.3 ended.
Damn. Damn.
You'll love this job.
Verifies as the first marker.
Good thing you can do it.
First marker.
So let's see what happens.
Oh.
Exactly. Let's see what happens. I mean, watching that stuff is magical, isn't it?
It really is. Now, I want to ask you, because you are a lot more proficient in your understanding of Q drops and all that, and I'm sure maybe someone would have picked this up, but I don't know why I fixated on that Cheney died at the age of 84.
I have seen some other stuff about that.
Have you?
Yeah, but I don't know where it is, and I can't remember where I saw it. But just let me add another thing in. That plane that crashed the other day, the flight number was 2976.
Same number of people that died
on 9/11.
On 9/11.
And there's more and more comms in that.
We were talking about that yesterday.
It
Yeah.
blew up at 125 feet, and there was Q drop 125, I think, and so many things like that. But
Yeah. And there was also a 9/11 connection.
yeah, there was loads of them.
Yeah.
And it's
Like
not
the
how
number.
many more coincidences
Yeah.
before we're watching something different to what people are watching on the TV, the normal TV, which
And-
I've looked at for years.
And you know, it was interesting too that the news, the words they use, the script was that he died with his wife and daughters nearby, or with him. I just thought that was very interesting.
Well,
He said that.
48 to 72 hour rule. Let's see what people dig up on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing stuff, isn't it?
It's actually crazy. Now, I noticed when Trump was talking, was it really a flub or was it on purpose? He said all over the phone, all over the floor, all over the floor.
And then he said floor twice, didn't he?
Yes.
I love it at the end when he said, I don't speak to stupid people. Go on.
He's a nut job when he said
Yeah.
that. So where are we? We've got, was it yesterday that you sent me the because I hadn't seen it. I saw it from you about Brennan.
Yeah, no, I sent you, I've got a indictment tracker, haven't I? I
think you had sent that to me. Yep.
I've got an indictment tracker set up somewhere that, it's information was coming out that it looks like John Brennan is going to be the next one to go. Whether he is or he isn't or someone else, I don't know. But if John Brennan comes out, then I'll add him up the list, indicted, and we'll see who's next. But
Do you have that handy, the indictment tracker, to put on the screen? I have it right here if you want me to send it to you, if that's handy.
Yeah, I can find it. It's in my PowerPoints. Hold up, let's open my PowerPoint quickly because it should be there under scare event.
I just sent it to you on.
Yeah, hold up. I've got it there.
I got it.
It's only a little meme I made up, but there you go. Who's next? Don't read all the words. Adam Schiff, Watermelon Head, an all-round swamp creature. John Brennan, director of the CIA. James Clapper, former director of National Intelligence. Hillary Rodham Clinton, 67th US Secretary of State, and vile. You know what that word says. Christopher A. Wray, FBI director. All roads lead to Obama. So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just getting better all the time.
It really is.
Yeah.
It is.
But you know, I know none of us are fortune tellers and stuff like that, but the more we predict the future and put it out to people on these Facebook and places like that, that the more they see us being right about things, the quieter they become. And, you know, it's quite sad because they should be becoming more involved. But if you're thinking about oh my God, if they're right about that, what else are they right about? You know, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's scary times, isn't it? But this is what we're here for. We plant the seeds to soften the blow for these people that are awakening and yet to awaken. Soothe the process.
You know, like I said, like I know there's a lot of varying opinions, but we could definitely go down the rabbit hole of the jab.
Yeah.
And I just think if we look at COVID, that was just an entire military operation that was just played out and timed so beautifully. And I believe that, you know, I don't know, but from what I've heard, you know, there was a certain amount that did get through, but the White House, I mean, we had heard the story, and I think it was July of 2019. There was one of the Pfizer plants was blown up in China. You know, like, what are the chances, right? And so I do believe that most people did get a safe shot.
Yeah, that's what I believe, and that's what I manifest. That it is. You know,
I really do. Now, the fact that there was so much. Oh, by the way, I just freed up until maybe for a while.
Oh yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we fell through this then.
Yeah. Yeah, so we don't have to worry about time. But anyway, I do believe that with all that was leaked, and let's put it that way, or found out before people started going for this thing, and the way we were so vigilant, you know, anybody who was aware and so vigilant about educating people, and they chose to ignore us and vilify us. And there was so much so many things that just didn't make sense. Like even if you believed it was good, just sheer logic tells you, how could they have made it and done the trials? There were no trial. Like, forget about what I'm saying about what I think is really going on with that shot. How could they have possibly made this the way it needs to be made? Like, they're just defied logic, and people were just so hell bent, you know, and every nasty thing they could say about people who were kind of fighting against it. And the way so many people jumped on board that it should be mandatory, like they became like tyrants. So that in mind, I think that it was a great test to see how many people would just follow orders, how many people would stand there in line like a bunch of sheep lining up to get this stupid thing, how many people were going to go back for 872 boosters, you know, and I would venture to say that's why these ads are still running. You can't go to a big box pharmacy over here and not see all the signs for your annual flu shot. You can't see a bus without seeing ads for these boosters and these shots. So they're probably still trying to gauge, and it'd be interesting for us to find out if we do a little research, because I think it was Sherry Tenpenny that I was watching recently who said that it's like way down, you know, the number of people who are going for their annuals at this point. So that's a good sign to me. That's like encouraging, you know. And she was also saying how far down it's gotten with women, well, parents doing that to their babies and their children. You know, so that's all a really good sign. And I just think that that had to play out very organically, because that was such an emotional. Listen, I work in the field, you know, in my coaching. I work with a lot of people that are going through divorce. That had become such a major issue between people getting divorced. One parent wanted the kid, you know, jabbed, and the other one didn't, and fighting over that. I mean, very emotional and very difficult, because both people felt so passionately, you know, that what their position was right.
Yeah.
I think we've come a really long way from 2020.
It was a horrific time, wasn't it, COVID, for some people. But it was a learning lesson that was necessary, I believe. But people in their way. The thing was, right, after the Second World War, right? They held the Nuremberg trials. Now, whether they just put 10 people on show or whatever it was, and all the rest came over here to you and NASA and Project Paperclip and all those sorts of things.
Yes.
Right. It's 75 years or so, and people have, you know, there's a video of a 100-year-old veteran on GB News this morning, almost in tears, the fact that he's fought for this country and what it's become again. And 75 years later, after these Nuremberg trials and the Nuremberg Code came out and these illegal medical procedures, and people just walked fucking into it again. It's like these people would slow walk themselves into a complete and utter communist dictatorship, right, without even knowing they were doing it.
Yeah.
And this is why we are trying to wake them up a little bit or plant the seeds.
That, to me, that was, if you ask me, that was the war. Because even though there's a military war going on right now, right, you know, that we know of, and, you know, the good and evil and all that, that was the kind of civil war in the world that we lived through. Because, you know, I'll give you an analogy. I had to go through a lot of fertility treatments when I was trying to have children. And it was like the most awful experience I could explain. It was awful from the emotional. It was awful from the doctors and the clinics and the awful. But the second, and I didn't get pregnant through the fertility, I will put out there in the end. The second I took that test that said I was pregnant, it was like I just completely forgot about the horror that I had been through. It just went away. And it's it feels like a lot like that with the whole COVID, like it's gone now. So sometimes you have to remember and sit and say, holy shit, that was awful. That was like scary and horrible and angering. And we were just in this fight with other people, and everywhere you turned, look, I can't speak from the perspective of the people who were going for the jab, but you have to imagine that they were so fraught with fear. And so it was a living hell for them as well, going through all that.
You've got to, you know, be mindful and feel for these sorry for these people that did feel like they had no choice whatsoever. You know, a single mother with 3 kids, got no food, you know, these sorts of things, stuck in a tower block and all that. I mean, we live in a beautiful green part of the countryside, you know. Well, you've only got to walk a mile and you're in the countryside and things like that. But it was a lot easier, and it was really hard for people, certain people. But, you know, the people that took it to go on holiday or to do things that weren't necessary, right? They're the people that are going to have to question themselves. And I do believe if we've got some benevolent force here, then God's in control or whatever, this, you know, a lot of people will find solutions, you know, to anything like that.
I agree. And so here's the other thing that I was just thinking when we were talking about the length of time of this whole operation. Let's say, right, just like spitballing here, but let's say that 2020, 2021, that period of time when the shot came out, and if you go back and, well, no, you consider the fact that people were sick and people were having these turbo cancers and they were having whatever, all these other things that were happening to their bodies. And everybody said it was from the shot. But if you go back, right, and you consider for how many years were people taking all these other jabs, and all, you know, the annual flu shot and this and that, right, all these other ones, and you go back, how long ago do you think the actual damage was done? Like, in other words, I believe in my heart that they combated a lot of this prior. Even though we were told by 2023, whatever, everything is saline and nobody's really getting any jabs anymore, blah, 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 right? And I can't imagine that if the military and Trump and the white hats are going rescuing children all over the world. They're going to set up newborn babies to get something that's so bad for them. I just don't believe it. I'm sure this was all, intercepted. However, I wonder how far back the damage was done that was probably time released in some way. And I'm not a biologist, and I'm not a doctor, but I'm just using common sense and from what I've heard in research, that there was something there that was time released, so that these things, right, that is a weird how everybody starts to get cancer, get sick at certain ages, and then they just kind of kick off, right, because we've been taught that we have a certain lifespan, right? But I wonder how far back it was really infiltrated. And that during COVID, I'm sorry, but during COVID was when the result of all the bad that was really starting to show itself. You know what I mean? The total increase in autism, the people that were getting myocarditis. Like, I wonder if we know that, let's say 2008-ish, we kind of know that, like, maybe they took over the Obama administration and the military was in, blah, blah, blah. I wonder how far back from today they were actually fixing a lot of these things to avoid like future problems beyond where that time was going to be, where it was going to explode from everything that was already put into us.
Yeah, well, they've been diminishing our immune systems for years, haven't they? Through, vaccines, food, water,
spraying
us and in the air. And, it's like, oh, it's flu season again. Who's to say that they don't just or haven't been? Because you and I believe that these lines in the sky might be okay now to wake people up. But, who's to say that they're... Right, okay, it's flu season. Get the barium and aluminium out of the chemtrails. Stick the flu bug in there, and I just spray the flu on us. Do you know what I mean? Every year, it's just part of their system and stuff. And we don't know what went on with the 5G, do we, in COVID? Whether 5G exists or not. There were all those towers were going up, but then there was other, workmen that were putting those units in the towers, COVID-19 on them. Who's to say that wasn't? And I believe the White Hats were putting them in there to stop the towers being forced up to this 60 gigahertz, which could have, if they'd have turned it up to like that, it might have frazzled everyone that had any of this in them anyway. So,
but maybe it was from before. See, that's what we don't know. We were told, right? It was in the flu shot, right? Exactly, for the ones that we already got and the kids got. And
look what BB Maguire's just been saying. You can go and watch that. It's BB Maguire's Doses of Deception.
I saw it.
Episode 33. We obviously did a bit with Joe and True Stream. He reworked that little video and put that out. He's tagged loads of people in it. But how they've, this MH, the MF gene, shall we call it, and how this is diminishing people's glutathione in their bodies. And, we've been, I don't think any of us, right, are 100% fit, are we? There's always something, you've got a bit of sniffle and all that. Oh, put my back out, this, that, and everything. I think they've been working on us for years. And, the White Hats can't just overturn that overnight. They have to do it strategically, which is why we say that, all those factories in the food distribution units and all that might have been the White Hats taking out all the crap.
Yeah.
Even with some of these, we hear about, the bird flus and then having to get rid of 3 million chickens or something like that. You don't know if they had something.
You don't know, right? We all thought like, oh my God, but meanwhile it could have been, because
they're trying to starve us, but they could have been bicamerally thinking. That's the White Hats saving us from eating that muck, whatever, they were putting into these things.
It's like Gitmo, isn't it? You can't expect that they're going to take 500,000 indictments and just like start now. You know what I'm saying? Like, how long has that? Right. So I think there's so much going on. And that's even more why I get pissed off with people in our community who are like, it's not happening fast enough. Really? Yeah. You know how big this is? And by the way, when you talk about flus and you talk about colds, to the best of my knowledge, it's a detoxing. So that means there's all kinds of shit that our body is you know what I mean? It's not the cold or the flu itself that's the issue. That's the result of all the shit that's, coming at us that our body is trying to detox out. That's the process, right? That's why the old timers would say, 7 to 10 days, because the body has to go through a process of getting rid of all that. So even though we think the sickness is the problem, it's really curing us of what's been attacking us.
Exactly. And don't forget, just to add what you were saying there, Monkey Works was tracking all the planes, wasn't it? Well, he wasn't tracking all the planes because military wouldn't let you know where everything is. But he was tracking those planes. And there's not just Gitmo. There are places all over. There might be one in Guam. He was talking. There was one in Alaska, wasn't there, or something? One in Portugal that he found, I think. And these things are everywhere. And don't forget the prison barges and the ships and what the Comfort and the Mercy were used for, and all these things when they came in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much. Because what we were hearing.
This Q operation has been going 60 years minimum. And that is a minimum.
Yeah.
Hasn't it?
Yeah. And then you think of all the wealthy people, like, have you heard the rumors that people like, oh my God, the aviator, what the hell is his, Howard Hughes, that he was one of the white hats who, built this whole, like, he went off the grid and then they found him and his nails were so grown and they made him out to be this like lunatic. But what I had heard was that he was also part of one of those very wealthy businessmen who went into the white hat operation back after the Kennedy assassination.
I don't doubt that at all. I'm just fascinated watching it unfold. And it's like we can have Jason Q on sometime on our Tuesday show.
Would love to. Oh my God, right? I know we're still trying to get him if he happens to be watching, or Dina, because yeah, we'd be really honored to have you on here.
Definitely. So, right, talking about chemtrails there's a couple of new films coming out. One's called Disclosure, I think, that's coming out on November the 21st. But there's another film out called Climate Trails. I have got the... it's funny how all these things are coming out now. And it's on Amazon Prime, I believe. Now, you've got all these people still banging on about it. Prince William did a little speech about it. Who else was talking about it?
About what, Stu?
About the climate change. Oh, Bill Gates. Bill Gates did a 180, didn't he?
Yes.
He put those stuff out and all
Very
that.
interesting.
You've got people talking about it, like Prince William and stuff. But I tell you, the funniest thing I've seen this week, it's probably not funny if you're an Arnie fan or anything like that. But when I saw this clip, I went, no way, because we've all seen Arnie go, screw your freedom and all this sorts of stuff. And if you ever seen him getting drop kicked in the gym by that bloke?
No, do you have a video you're going to put on?
No, I haven't got. But yeah, this video here, guess who he's with? Have you seen it?
I don't know. Tell who. Let me see. Yeah, yes. Oh my God, play this.
We want to do the same thing here. We want to communicate the right way. I think this whole climate change dialogue is not going to work. I think this has been used for the last few decades. I think we should address it directly, what it is, which is pollution. We want to terminate pollution. That is the message we should go and get out there. And I think that it doesn't matter if it's the Chinese or the Russians, whoever it is, we maybe don't agree with them, but we all have to bring them in and we all have to work together with them.
Okay, first of all,
why would they put him on with Skippy, John Podesta?
Okay, first of all, before we get into the content of it, that is the worst. I don't know what's going on there with Schwarzenegger's head. No, seriously.
Yeah, he's got a haircut on top of numbers there.
Oh my God, yeah, I know. And he's just okay. So now content of it, and he's just sitting there. He's just sitting there.
Podesta says nothing.
Nothing. And why is he there? Why is he there?
Exactly. Because he's been put into the spotlight, isn't he?
But what was the date on that?
11.4 on the arrest of Mr. Podesta. Now, it does say in the Q drops Mr. Podesta. It doesn't say John or Tony. And there's there's connotations to that, isn't there? That might, it's like an Italian word and it means leader or things like that. It could mean anything, the Q drops, misinformation, disinformation, and truth. You know, Socratic method, do your own digging. But it cracked me up. I laughed when I saw that clip almost as much as when I saw Trump sitting in an orange workman's bib, sitting in that garbage truck. You know, that made me laugh so much. The trolling level of that is hilarious. You know, Biden said, you know, all these people that are garbage. He basically called half the country garbage, didn't he? So Trump turned up in a white garbage truck with that, and he wore that orange bib on stage after to the rally. Because someone said it makes you look slimmer. That's amazing.
But you can't make it up.
You can't make it up. I've been laughing and laughing and laughing.
So do you know the date on the Schwarzenegger Podesta video?
It was about three days ago. Do you want me to play this climate trials?
Yeah.
Do you want to? Yeah.
No, I was just curious if there was any kind of delta or anything like that with that video.
No, I haven't looked at that. I haven't heard anyone say that either. I'll see what I do. You know, I can go in and try and decode and stuff like that. But there is I've got so much to do anyway, research, so we can talk and keep on top of everything, that I would much rather let Jason Q and Matrix Decode Breaker and the Grasshopper team and all that put all their stuff out, and I go through all that, you know, and take bits out of it. And oh my God, because it's just amazing what those guys do. Jason has got over 1.7 million pages of documents now. You know, I'm on my 4th external hard drive, saving stuff away, archiving offline. But Jason, amazing. Like, it's just that everything is coming into the spotlight. Everyone's talking about chemtrails now. The normies are talking about chemtrails, which is maybe why the white hats kept them going, and they are good now. But and this is just coming out on Amazon Prime. Now, we try and get people to Rumble, and they won't come to Rumble or Telegram. But they've all got Amazon, haven't they? And Netflix. I think it's on Amazon Prime or Netflix, one of the two.
When the threats started coming, I realized I needed to leave. And again, I had no plan. I had no job. I was very scared, and I came out in a time that I knew, regardless of what happened to me, I was going to be on the right side of history.
You can no longer call something a conspiracy theory when Harvard, Bill Gates, and the CIA director are all calling for these programs to start.
We have barium and strontium and aluminum and nanoparticles. I think some of these technically incompetent politicians don't understand what a nanoparticle is.
Don't you want to breathe clean air?
What I do see is massive evidence that we are exposed to an immense chemical soup of man-made poisons.
It's going into our water supply, it's going into our nose, it's going into our mouth, it's settling on our skin.
If you just take the time to look up, it becomes undeniable.
We the people have not consented to being test subjects.
Your own government's doing it.
They're spraying us like bugs, like cockroaches. That doesn't raise any flags? That doesn't make you think? Scratch your head? What's going on?
Poof! There's all the aluminum over this concentrated area.
You have everyone looking up at the sky. I mean, it's literally over our heads.
That is going to be powerful.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very
And
powerful.
then anybody who has, because I don't know what the extent of it is, I'm assuming and hope that they're going to go into a deep dive in that documentary about what aluminum does, what these nanoparticles do. Wasn't it written somewhere at some...
There's a lot of films out like that already, isn't there? What in the World Are They Spraying is one of the main ones that I saw many years ago, and that's really dug into it. But you could only see those things at the time on YouTube, and then we all got shut down on YouTube. And
that's what I'm saying. This is like, how much more public can you get than this, right?
Exactly. I mean, Amazon Prime and Netflix, probably two of the biggest things people watch. I mean, people don't really watch that much TV anymore, do they? The older generation might keep up, Antiques Roadshow and watch the news and things like that. But, most of us dig in. We don't watch anything on TV. It's all online. It's all in our channels, because there's so many, there's so many things come up now. They go on Twitter as fast as they go on Telegram, and vice versa. A lot of the time now, if you sit there on 8kun watching the live board go down, right? A lot of the time, stuff's on Telegram and Twitter before that anyway. They might divulge into it there a lot more, which is great to see. But yeah, it's all coming into the public spotlight. We're seeing more and more D-class every single day, aren't we?
Yeah. And it's also interesting. I'm going back to a few years when they told us about the detox baths, because it was going to help detox us from the jab. What if all those detox baths were detoxing us from the chemtrails?
And creating.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, what are they? Detox baths?
So it's taking a very, very, very hot bath with baking soda, Epsom salt, bentonite clay,
and
borax.
Yeah.
Which, of course, they did a number on us about borax, how we don't need it. And so made it, put it into the detergent aisle so people wouldn't think that it was good for us, right? But those 4 ingredients, and they're supposed to, pull a lot of stuff out of us. Now, what if they were just trying to start getting the population who was awake, who didn't take the jab, or those who realized, I took it, now what do I do, right? Because it was very clever what they did, because there was sort of this way to get it out of you. So you have to wonder how real the jab was, right? Like, all right, you made a wrong decision. This is what you could do. But I'm wondering, quite honestly, if yes, maybe it had to do with other jabs but at the end of the day, what did it really have to do with? It had to do with those chemicals like aluminum and all these the nanoparticles, because I think I had read somewhere, and I don't remember who it was, who said that we've all sort of been chipped. Now, I know I didn't go in and physically get chipped, right? So how is that possible? How is the delivery system in that? How is that happening? That begs the question, right? All these things we're talking about, jabs and chemtrails and food and this and that and the other. So I have a feeling it's like little by little, letting people, those that are open, to start learning how to get rid of all this shit that's been accumulating in our bodies, right?
Well, I mean, it wasn't really till, even though we looked upon our health and stuff, it wasn't really till 2020 and COVID, that even the people that have been awake for years and years really started looking to the health side of all this, and foods and non-GMOs.
Right, unless you were already in that mode, like just being of that healthy mode. I'd been buying organic for years. Now, I didn't understand how deep everything went. You know what I'm trying? Like, I had a pretty good sense because, I've always been in that and being a health coach and all that. But understanding labels, understanding what all these things are. Like, I have to say, like, my sister and I, for decades, had been following all that. And I guess it's really first started when we became mothers. You start to become much more aware of what you're feeding your family, what you're, doing. And But mass population wise, no. And there are still people. Do you know how many times I go to the supermarket and I'm just like eyeballing what people have on the conveyor belt? I'm like, oh my God, they're actually buying that? You know, and you can't say anything, you know, but you try to tell, like, my favorite thing was Splenda. Like, watching people put Splenda and not knowing what all the, you know, how terrible it is and what's really in that shit. And so whenever I would sit next to someone, I'd be like, let me ask you, how come you use that? Oh, you know, I'm always watching my weight. Really? Have you lost? How long have you been using it? I don't know, 5 years, 10. Really? Have you lost any weight? Not really. Okay. So can I tell you what you're really using? Just FYI. And people just don't know. So you're right. There was more of a mass awakening also about, you know, being healthy and what's all around. Like, just think about the deception, skin lotions and soaps and toothpaste, everything.
Yeah.
Sunscreen, right?
I never use sunscreen. You know, if I'm going somewhere hot and I'm coming out of a white winter body, yeah, I might put on a 15 for a day or something like that. But then the rest of the time, I've got like some sort of oily stuff that, you know, when you go in the sea and you come out and it's still on you.
Yeah.
Or just baby lotion or something like that. I think, you know, people have been told to fear the sun.
That's right.
We should not. It is whether it's a big light in the sky, you know, under the firmament or something or not. I don't know. You know, whether the sun has changed colour. It used to be orange, and now it's white. People saying all these sorts of things. Whatever. It is life, isn't it? If it was dark all the time, things wouldn't grow and all this sorts of stuff.
Right.
And, you know, there's even talk about, you know, sun gazing, and we should be looking at the sun where we've been
at certain times, like, yeah, at dawn and
look at the
dusk.
sun.
Yeah, for a couple seconds. But here's the thing. What did they do years ago? The sun's always been here. Like, when I was a kid, I'm trying to think back. I don't even know if we used it, but you had an umbrella. Like, the sun is good, but if you're going to a beach all day, granted, it'll hurt your skin if you get too much, because then you're going to be in pain because you have a burn, right? So nobody wants to be in pain. Okay, wear a long shirt, you know, have an umbrella, bring an umbrella so you could, you know, you could split your time. So does that mean for like thousands of years nobody went in the sun?
No.
But the thing is, I think a lot of people got very scared. It's always fear, especially moms, right? Think about how you put that shit on a baby, but it was all with good intention, right? I don't want my baby to burn. The skin is so soft and like, so keep it out of the sun, you know, put them in the sun for a little while and take them out, you know? Like, we've all been snookered.
I mean, I haven't eaten a McDonald's in 5 years. Right?
5. I don't think I've eaten at McDonald's for, like, no exaggeration, like 20 or 25.
Well, fair play to you. And I do miss a Big Mac, if I'm honest with you. But the last few times I was in McDonald's, it's full of people that obviously, you know, workmen or whatever like that. But there's so many people in there with prams feeding that shit to their babies. You know, and the trouble is, once you do that a few times and all that, you know, a lot of the time the baby's gonna, unless you take them to McDonald's to eat that shit. It's like,
well, I find it interesting, and I haven't been near a McDonald's. Like, I was more noticing of it when my kids were little, you know, like just taking note of places because you're driving more and you're going slow. Like, now I'm not, but for all those years, the Happy Meals and the toys and all this stuff, and it's fun, and it's all the commercials that were on. By the way, I haven't seen like a McDonald's commercial in so long, and I don't even know if do they still do Happy Meals?
not sure. I haven't seen one either.
Like,
I haven't turned my telly on for years.
Yeah. So, but truth to be told, you don't have to turn the television on anymore. You could just put on YouTube and even Rumble with the freaking commercials that they put on there. I mean, granted, they're a little different, but yeah, now that you mention it, like, I haven't thought about that in a while. And I was in the toy business for a number, about 6 years, when the late 80s, early 90s. and I worked with one of the factories in China that produced all the Happy Meal toys. And it was a huge business.
I mean, I vape, right? Because I didn't smoke for a long time, and then I have a few fags every now and then. But I vape. I'm speaking to my mate in the gym and stuff like that, and he was basically saying to me that the problem with vaping is that it's the and I'm not a vape specialist or anything like that.
Right,
I do what I can for me, but it's all these flavorings in the vape that are causing this sort of like, because I was one of the first people to have a vape years ago, and I was cycling up a hill locally, and it's a steep hill, and I was almost sick.
Really?
Right? Yeah, and I was sort of like, and I had this sort of gargle in my lungs, and I thought, fuck that, it was just a weird experience. Anyway, so I threw it away, and I was having a fag here and there. But I've got that vape. But I went on Grok and I had a chat with Grok, and I've found the best pharmaceutical grade VG and PG and a nicotine salt, because we hear, you know, if you're Dr. Barnardis and stuff, that nicotine is actually good for us, and they've lied to us. And all the smokers in COVID weren't getting ill, were they? Right? That's why Fauci said now has never been a better time to give up smoking and all this stuff. But I use just a nicotine shot in there as well, and it's all natural. And I'll tell you what, I puff away on that. I can go to the gym, run 5K. I don't get out of breath or anything. You know, it's so much better for me. And even BB Maguire, someone was in her chat the other day. She went, someone in the chat, yes, I vape. Right, but we all got little vices. Some people drink too much coffee. You know, we shouldn't be drinking coffee first thing in the morning, but I do. You know, it's like a little wake up thing when I'm going through all the news and X22s on.
Yeah. Well, it's also these are rituals that we get into, and they feel comforting, and we get used to them, and they're part of us. But I do think, like, with all the smoking and everything, that most of the reason, listen, they've been smoking tobacco for thousands of years, right? But it's all the shit that they put in it. That's what the problem is.
Exactly.
And I heard recently from someone that they put sugar. Have you heard this? And that's part of what makes it so addicting.
Yeah, well, Brian Ardis is talking about there's another chemical in cigarettes.
Okay.
Not the nicotine. He says, I can't name it now, but that is the thing that is so addictive. You know, because there's nicotine in tomatoes and all sorts of things. So I've been led to believe, listening to Brian.
That I don't know, but okay. So, and they're not addicting.
No. Oh, mind you, I fancy a tomato. Hang on. No. Yeah.
What else do you have on your list?
Yeah, we're all trying to take care of our health. We're trying. Look, imagine having no vices, doing what we do. All this watching and monitoring and putting out our show now and everything like that. Imagine not having a beer every now and then, or a glass of wine, or a puff here, and you know what I mean, or some big chocolate bar. You know, we've all just got to survive this war until we come out the other side of it, because many of the people we love haven't survived it.
I know.
You can put them down as collateral damage in this war, and you know, don't really want to say that, but they are our lost loved ones that these fuckers took out, and they will pay their prices, I'm sure.
They will.
You know,
to your point about the vices, listen, some of these vices, they're not great, but if you're not sprayed with aluminum all the time and you're not bombarded by all kinds, your body is pretty amazing, and it will survive here and there the things that we're doing. The problem is that they weakened it to such a point, and then they decided to blame us. That's what we're doing. It's us. It's your eating habits. It's your smoking. It's you don't do this, you do too much of that. And really, what are they putting in the food? Like, are people really that overweight because of how much they eat, or because of plastic that can't be metabolized and all this other shit that's in there? Are people really getting cancer because they're smoking? tobacco?
Yeah.
I don't think so. What's all the other shit that's in it? Are
Yeah.
people really getting all these brain diseases because of it's just what happens when you get older? Or is it because there's aluminum bombarding them every which way? And parasites, which they have never explained to us, are things that happen that we can detox out of us, right?
Exactly. Well, I'm on day 19 now of my parasite cleanse. 10 days on, 5 days off, and I'm 4 days into the last 10 days. And yeah, I feel quite good. Really. Yeah. Well, it's just I've never done one before, and so it was worth doing one. I'm using David Mahoney's powder. Yeah.
What do you have? Are there any limitations when you're on it in terms of what you need to eat or how you need to eat, etc.?
No, it just says take them on an empty stomach and that sort of thing. But I've done everything as normal.
Okay.
I haven't drunk as much beer, right?
Okay.
Obviously, because you want to do these things properly. But yeah, no, I feel good. I feel pretty decent all the time. Anyway, I go to the gym every day.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
You know, so we've all got to keep on top of it. I'm 54 now, and lots of people don't think I look anything like that. But there you go. You just got to maintain it, keep on top of it, and like I say, survive until we get that global red pill and a bit of the golden age coming in, and then maybe we can do a few things we actually really want to do. You know, but all this time, I'm loving doing what I do. I just want to say thanks to you as well for coming into my life when you did, and probably vice versa.
Absolutely.
The show is excellent, isn't it? I'm meeting loads of people, and we're both meeting other people and stuff like that. And I just really look forward to Tuesdays and Thursdays, and any other time we can get on. It's great to shoot the shit with you.
It really is, and it's so nice because first of all, what I love is that we're coming from different like geographical areas, like in the world. And unless you know of, is there any, I don't think there was any other show that did that. I know, like on a regular. I know that I think Mark Atwood is doing some stuff, but I haven't actually watched enough to see what he's doing. Like, is that his show? Is that just the name of it? Like, I don't know, but I don't know of any other international podcast.
Mark show in it, Adventures in the Cosmic Suit, and Mark's in Ireland. I think he used to live in Portugal or somewhere like that. But I'd love to chat with Mark as well because he's a great guy, and he doesn't mind what he says.
No,
We've seen,
God bless him.
Yeah, and it's great. And I quite regularly use all those words in my indictment tracker there, really. But there you go. There's a time and a place, isn't there?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I watch so many shows and stuff. I mean, Rambo and stuff have Burn Notice on, and Beer at the Parade has Burn Notice. He's in Australia. There's people all around the world involved in this. And
yeah, I just meant together. Like we've brought it together. We're like a lot of the podcasters are relatively like American together, or in different. But like I like what we did because we actually brought the two perspectives on one show consistently.
Well, us paying attention in the UK are all eyes on America and Trump because we know what's going on, and a lot of people that don't follow the Q operation and Trump and all these things are having a worse time of it because of what's going on in this country and this push for digital ID now, and the boats coming in every day and the dinghies coming across, and we've got when you had your border wall open, or was it just in certain places to track and monitor and stuff, and it's exactly the same here. If you can't track illegal immigrants coming across the water, 20 miles of water, right, and they're processed or whatever, or taken to military bases or put in hotels and given phones and money on cards to spend, and I would never ever say all illegal immigrants are bad people, because I don't think that at all. But there's definitely some bad people amongst them, whether they are military aged men or sleeper cells or anything like that. We're seeing a lot of crap going on over here, and a lot of people are pissed off about it. But the whole point of that, I believe, is to get people to stand the fuck up and do something about it, rather than wait to be saved or think it's just normal, because it's not. Our government is blatantly, like yours, right, or the Democratic Party on your side and Labour here, they are not supporting the people of this country. They are bowing down to other cultures and the grooming gangs we're hearing about and all that. They're not making arrests, and they're looking the other way and all these sorts of things. But the more this goes on, the more it's being put out into the public psyche. And I say, at some stage, every one of you, every person has got to get involved in whatever shape or form, until we all say in mass non-compliance, fuck you, we're not doing it anymore. And if everyone down to, I think there's even something, I don't think it's till January, but did you send me that video about a guy that was saying, well, everyone down tools for a week? Because if we all did that, if everyone in the country, all around the world, said, right, we're all having a week off and we are doing nothing.
Nothing.
You know, that's it, right? How long would it take that money to filter out if the dark side was still in control?
Yeah, if there's any dark, exactly. But here's the other thing that really baffles me. You just had an election in New York. Why weren't people out in the street? The ones that aren't awake. We're awake, so we're like, let's just watch this freaking shit show play out. I'm psyched. But all the people that really thought they were voting between these two knuckleheads, where was anybody that was coming out saying this is bullshit? Who the fuck are these two people? One's a murderer, the other one's a communist. Where did they come from? Why are they on the ballot? Like, where are all the groups? Yeah. Where are all the women, you know, wearing the vaginas on their head? Where are they saying, okay, if this guy feels strongly about, you know, Sharia law, and he's got, like, I got to wear a burqa? You know what I'm saying? Like, wouldn't that be what you're thinking? Like, why do I want this guy? So where are all these groups protesting, saying, who put these people on the ballot?
Well, exactly. But there you go. How many people are now sitting at home going, I don't want this, you know, or I didn't.
I don't think they're saying it yet. You know what I think they're saying? Oh, what are you going to do? You know, it sucks. I'm not saying, right? It sucks.
There's nothing we can do about it, right? Yeah. One of the fucking things I hate, right, or that line, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. What am I going to do about it?
8 billion people.
Yeah.
You know, because if everyone said, well, let's do something about it then, or walk outside our houses and say, we're not paying tax anymore, you know, or, you know, when no one's shopping in the supermarket, we're all going to use our local providers, which have been so suppressed, haven't they?
Stu, what if everybody said with one of these elections, these are our choices? Fuck you. We're not voting. They just didn't vote. When just no one's going to the polls. Fuck you. Get us some better candidates, or let's figure out who we can get. Like, they just go.
I think that's where we're moving to. If we're moving into some blockchain system, quantum financial,
100%.
Stuff like that, and with a Q phone or anything like that, or, you know, a new phone that, or we have an app on our phone that they put a candidate forward, and that candidate says, I want to bring out digital ID. Vote yes or no. Everyone in their homes could go like that. 98% of people, which is a 17, no. And then they either change their policy or they get fucked off and someone else comes in. Right. And I think this is, even RFK Jr., didn't he? About, when was it? I think it's when Trump came in that, like, sort of first month. Didn't they have a website up where people could put forward people to come into these roles from any, I sort of remember something like that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I couldn't find it now. That'd take a bit of digging. But there, I was looking at it, and people were applying for things. It was like, did you apply for a White House press pass when they did that? There were so many people on Telegram. I just put mine in because they had one chair, didn't they, for like, you know, independent truthers.
Yeah.
We've seen a few people sitting on there and stuff like that. I put mine in. Loads of people did.
I think most of us from this community did.
Yeah, brilliant. But this is what it needs. It's a government, whether you even have a government or that word, by the people.
We're not supposed to. We're not supposed
to.
Right. We don't need this big government. Meanwhile, I'm trying to locate one of my all-time favorite memes.
Well, let me just play this video then, because
go ahead, put it up. I'm going to look for this because
not everyone likes Charlie Ward, but you watch people for the information they deliver rather than their character or what you think a lot of the time. But he just did a little 30-second clip here of, you know, and Charlie's always like, it's a pantomime, people.
It's a pantomime.
Hi, guys. This is just a little reminder. I keep telling you this is all pantomime. This is all a movie. So when you see Mamdani when in New York, this is all part of the pantomime. Stop getting so wound up about it. You're watching a movie. You're watching a pantomime. Central casting. I have to keep reminding you every time there's a bump in the road. You think it's for real. It's all pantomime.
It's so true.
Yeah, I just thought
that's why we're laughing. Anyway, I can't find this thing, but you might remember. It's just very, very simple. It showed like the Revolutionary War.
If you're anything like me, you've got about 17 million.
Yeah, and I can't find. I have to organize them at some point. But it was the one where you had the, you know, of course, it's coming from the American perspective. You've got the British soldiers telling them you must comply, and then you have the American patriots going "fuck you." I just love that one.
Yeah,
it's all like the suits, and I just love that one. You must comply. Fuck you was the response. But that's what we did. That's what we said. That's how we acted. And hopefully the strength and the vibration that we brought, you know, at that time. I mean, albeit our vibration at the time was probably not love and, you know, joy. It was anger, but it doesn't matter. We were
ridicule.
Oh,
yeah. What are you doing?
Light Warrior Patriot in the chat says she has that one. I think she's referring to the meme that I was just talking about. Yeah. I have to organize my things because I saved so many, and a lot of them used humor, you know.
The worst thing I did, like I said, I've got thousands and thousands of memes and stuff I've snipped. I use a snipping tool a lot to take screenshots and stuff like that, and videos, Trump best bits, the Biden bits. I've got all files on everyone, but I never named anyone. I just used to save them. So, you know, a certain file name might be like someone's gone blah, 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 on the keyboard. But that's quite a good thing, really. It takes me longer to find stuff, but I can spot a video and know by the background and things like that where it's come from. And that's the one. That's the one. But the good thing about that is that if I'd have known 4 or 5 years ago that I was going to have to name everything, because it was going to be going on another 4 or 5 years, which is why in the Q drops they didn't let us know that. They kept up Red October and Red October and Red October, 11.3 and 11. You know, all these things is to not let us know, because I think if a lot of us 5 years ago went, this is going on another 5 years minimum, a lot of people,
we would have had breakdowns. We would have had the breakdowns.
Yeah, and we'd have been not as invigorated as we are to stay involved in this and hold the line.
Hold the line. I remember, I think it was Simon Park said in 2023 that he didn't see a lot, you know, because we thought it was all going to end and Trump was going to run in and all this kind of stuff. And he said, I don't really see anything you know, significantly happening until 2024. And the people in the chat went freaking ape shit.
Well, don't remember, Wano Savin was saying Biden will be elected.
Yes. And everyone's like, no, he can't be. He won't be.
No chance. No
way.
And then he got elected. Trump went to get a private jet, didn't he? Because Trump left on Air Force One with the football and stuff. But yeah,
it's been a journey. My gosh.
Best time of my life. Even though we lost people, it's the most interesting, invigorating, and I've got a few people as well now, because I've got a new website, stewsnews.uk, and on the about page I've got a little bit with friends, FRENS, thank yous, right? And a few people have been sending them in to me, and I've got some more to upload. But just reading those I've been welling up a bit and stuff, really, from what people have been saying to me.
Well, and that's the thing. We really want, really help us out. Like Stu's channel was taken down. I'm trying to really build my Rumble channel now. So just, hit the like, subscribe button. You'll get notified. We do go live 2 to 3 times a week. So you want to always follow us, and of course, share if you like what we're doing, and the chemistry and the way we go about going through some of this craziness.
Shooting from the hip.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm at Elisa V Unscripted on Rumble, and Stu, you are
Stu's News Live 5. Do you know what? I haven't put our scroll on today, have I, at all? Let's whack that on. But if everyone goes to stewsnews.uk, I don't care about YouTube. This goes out live to YouTube. I'm on Telegram is my main channel where I post stuff all day, but my Rumble channel is the one I'm trying to build. And the numbers, I've only got about 70, 80 subscribers at the moment, but I've had so many accounts deleted. My Rumble channel is the main one that I want to build. And there's various other things that to follow. I've got a Substack and things like that. If you go and read my Substack on my YouTube, on my website, you go to the learn about Q, devolution, and comms updated. I've only written about 3. Went to frustration because I couldn't post videos online. I was like, I'm watching the fucking Substack. Yeah. Right, that has got. I reckon if you go through all that, it's going to take you a month. It's got all John Howell's Devolution series, all the best shows I watched during the week to keep up with the comms, and X22 and Jason Q and Rambo and Friends and Josh and Alpha and all these shows, and we know news. All of Devolution. It's got loads of Q for Dummies, written by Abs and Stormy. It's got the video format, Rambo and Abs did, and everything's in there. Joe Plan. Joe M Plan Save the World video start, a little picture of me and you and our shows, like Patriots Across The Pond. But yeah, it's it's just really building and stuff, and I just love being part of this movement. So how long you got? I've got a couple more things, because we were talking about Epstein earlier, and Prince Andrew has now been called over to you, hasn't he? He's got to testify in Congress.
Yes. Very interesting how these characters are popping up in different places. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see what happens there. Another thing that sort of, if I was one of the black pillars or the Panicans, I'd have gone, oh my God. And I sort of almost went for a minute, what? Trump was doing another one of his little pressers about Ozempic, wasn't he? And as soon as I heard the word Ozempic, I thought, what's he pushing that for? Bringing these people into the spotlight. Or what's this about? Did you see this?
I didn't see this. I got to see this.
Right, okay. So they're having a presser, and they're all there, RFK and stuff. And I can't remember the guy's name. It might have been Gordon or someone, but there's a guy standing behind Trump. And obviously Trump is talking about Ozempic and all this. And we have another one, have a little faint.
And creating high-value jobs. But today, you okay? Gordon, you okay?
cameras. We're done rolling cameras.
Now, I don't, if that's genuine and stuff like that, I wish that guy very well. But it's happened again. That something has happened live on air. This guy's gone down while Trump's talking about Ozempic and stuff, and it's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
There's so many things we're seeing like this.
It's really interesting.
Have we?
Like go back. How many press conferences have there been in politics prior to the Biden show that anybody's ever fallen over?
Not that I can remember.
And how many have we watched people collapse, fall, drop dead, whatever the hell happened since that time?
But I mean, how many times has Trump got people there? That Barney, him and JD Vance had with Zelensky, live. And then he's got don't quote me on this. Was it the president of Zimbabwe or Nigeria came over where all this Christian genocide is going on? And, that guy with a red beret is chanting,
Yes.
Kill the ball, and stuff like that. Trump brought that guy into the presser, right? And talk, no. Trump went, get the telly on, right? Live in front of the world. He showed all this stuff. How many people didn't know anything about that?
Right.
Because it's D-class happening every single fucking day.
Every day.
And it's beautiful to see play out.
It really is. And that's why I feel like for me, I feel like I don't believe anything's real anymore. Like maybe I've gone the other extreme. You can't tell me anything. Even, people dying, this, that. It's like there's no emotion on my face anymore. I'm like, yep.
Yeah, same. It's like
it's all part of the plan. And maybe sometimes it's not. You know what I'm saying? But I can't discern. I just look at everything as deliberate, planned, very specific, very strategic. And if I don't know why it's happening, it's only because I haven't dug yet or, haven't listened to someone else who does dig and sparks that. But I have people like in my life that'll be like, if we see someone, they'll be like, is he dead? Is he really dead? Is that guy gone? Like, because they believe that I believe everybody's gone in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't believe it. Well, I believe my eyes when I see Arnold Schwarzenegger sitting there next to Skippy. I believe that when I see it. Although that could be AI generated video.
We don't know.
Whatever. But I believe what I'm saying for my eyes in the process of this coming out. But normally, I don't believe anything anyone says until 48 to 72 hours.
Yeah.
Until I've seen people dig into it. We've got so many eyes on this. There was no eyes on the JFK assassination. Look at the eyes on Charlie Kirk, right? And what we've seen, right? If we were about in 63 with video cameras everywhere and surveillance and everyone had an iPhone and Samsung or whatever, Android, right? People taking videos and all this sorts of stuff and digging into it and computers and talking on shows like this, we'd have found out a lot more about that as well.
Exactly.
I think that Zapruder film of Kennedy didn't. I can't even think now. Don't quote me on this either. But then someone say it didn't come out till 6 months, a year, or 2 years later, or something like that after he was shot. We got to see that film.
I don't think it was right. It wasn't right away, from my memory as well.
It was quite a long time, from what I remember.
The whole thing. And then that brings you to the idea, like we're just living in a simulation.
Yeah, definitely. The Matrix.
Totally.
It's whatever it is.
Speaking of the Matrix, I wanna. We've got Tom Althouse coming on, right? I think he's on the 18th. think he's coming on our friends show of our ENS. And we just give a heads up to some of our viewers here that we have got, let's see, Tom is coming on the 18th. I think we're scheduled for 12.
Light Warrior Patriot is coming on the 11th.
Yep, Light Warrior Patriot is next Tuesday.
I'm looking forward to that because we've had a really nice chat the other day, the three of us, and she's lovely. She is.
Yes, and we have a lot of people coming on. It's really exciting. So you guys have to subscribe so you'll get notified when we've got guests. And usually we do the Friends show on Tuesdays. Like this week we did have an extra show. We had JP on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we had Joe and Scott from Truth Stream. But yeah, we've got some.
Yeah, we got Cat, isn't it?
Yes.
Cat, Light Warrior Patriot on the 11th.
On 11/11.
We got Tom Otis on the 18th. We got Phil Tawney.
Yep. Phil Tawney was one of the survivors of the USS Liberty in 1967. Amazing story.
That's on the 11th of December.
Phil is on the 25th, right?
Oh, 25th, the 11th. Then we've got Melissa Redpill on the 3rd of December.
Yeah, and we're filling in more thereafter.
Yeah, brilliant. I love it. I can't wait.
It's exciting.
Jason Q, can you hear?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think we're gonna get a lot more folks on, and it's just been a blast. I love it.
Yeah, same. I've got a few more things written down on there on the list, but they're all sort of like stuff we've sort of been over before. There's lots going on with this filibuster and all this snap program and, you know, things. And, you know, a lot of people are having a right moan up now and stuff like that. I do wonder, you know, if part of the lockdown, the COVID lockdown, when Trump shut it all down, wasn't to teach people to sort of like be able to fend for themselves a little bit more, and in preparation for this government shutdown 4 years later. You know, you've got to look how far this plan's been going back, and what we're seeing. You know, I don't want to put anyone in a certain group, but you are seeing a lot of people that are moaning and posting TikTok videos and stuff like that I can't get any food and all this sorts of stuff. A lot of them are on the scrounge, aren't they? You know, a lot of them are just, they don't do anything. They live off benefit and all that, whereas a lot of people want to work and want to get a job and want to fend for themselves and all these sorts of things.
Agreed, 100%. Yeah, listen, a lot of people, like we talk about all the time, as we move more into the new financial system and this other system starts to break down, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be self-deporting, because with NESARA, they're going to want to go back to their country. And why wouldn't they? You know, like for those people who left because they truly had to figure out ways to make money and live a better life, why would you want to leave your whole family and your culture and, you know, the geography of where you lived if you didn't have to?
Yeah, maybe a lot of them are soldiers and they're all part of this military operation, right? To make it look like this immigration is such a problem. Maybe they're playing a part. Maybe you've got militaries from, I think this military alliance is worldwide. And I'm not saying every country's involved, but I'm saying a lot are.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, you could have a lot of the Afghan army and stuff. There's a lot more to that Afghan withdrawal and Trump and whatever, leaving 85 billion. You look at the Taliban army now, they are a professional looking unit from what I've seen. We're not seeing loads of crap over there and stuff, are they? It's like deals are made with all these countries, and that's what NESARA is. No war, all these 20 points and stuff. You know, it's amazing to see. I just want to say to people as well, the people moaning about, oh my God, digital IDs coming in and all that. If you're using iris scans on your phone already, with your fingerprints to get in your phone and all that, you're already halfway there. You know, you want to think about these things. I don't do any of that biometric stuff.
What, the fingerprint and the eye scan and the,
you know, if I've got to put in my password, right, and I've got hundreds of passwords, is like, why would someone have the same password for every site? It's ridiculous, isn't it? But if I've got to spend 17 seconds putting in a long password into a site to get in, rather than having my iris scanned, right, and it going to whoever, right, I'm going to do that, aren't I? It's just taking a bit more care about everything, like our diets and things.
100%. So let me ask you, do you have, because now we're getting close that I have to jump, but do you, unless you have anything else, do you have you always have these great outro videos that you.
I'll just 5 minutes there. I thought, what could we play today? I'll just put Silent Running on by Trump. It's 6 minutes. How long have you got?
Probably till maybe 5 minutes of 1 Eastern time.
5 minutes? Did you say?
To 1. Yeah, to 1. 5 minutes before 1. Yeah.
Oh, about 18 minutes. All right, then that's 6 minutes. We can chat for another 10 minutes, can't we? Yeah, digital ID and biometrics. You've got anything else you want to say? I mean, Trump said the other day, didn't he? You've now got a choice. And I haven't got it all here, but you can get into the people decoding Trump's "so it begins" and the dots and the spaces and how many letters and all that sort of thing, because he's basically said now, hasn't he, that the people have got a choice now. You know, it's not left versus right and all this stuff.
Right.
It's communism versus common sense. So let's see what.
Very funny how it's right in the center of New York, right? That everybody generally worldwide, that is the center of attention with the communism.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of people are talking about, well, look, I think if anything's going to happen, we're pretty much there, or it's round the corner or something, because we've got these militaries now stationed everywhere, the National Guard, and are the Marines based in Puerto Rico or something?
I thought that's what I had heard.
Yeah, because
I think Puerto Rico is very pivotal to this whole thing.
I think Josh was saying from there you can have the US Marines anywhere in the United States in under 9 hours, and these, you know, and he's talking about when it was put out that there was going to be, was it 17? I think it was 1,700 National Guards, right, put into so many cities, right, that it actually worked out only 90 National Guards in each of those big cities. And Josh Reed was talking about this, the fact that if everyone comes out in the streets and you've got all this discord, well, you know, are 90 National Guards sufficient to do that? Or are they 90 special forces, 5-man operator teams, you know, that are going to lock down, people stay at home, right? You're muted.
Yeah, that's an excellent decode, that perspective of it.
Lock down, the people stay at home, and these operator teams go and do what they have to do. Because I'll tell you something now, you do, even though it'd be amazing pay-per-view, right? You do not want to see Antifa going up against military like that. I mean, you know, one of these specialist 5-man teams would probably take out 200 enemy troops, you know, no problem if they weren't up to grade and stuff.
And I'm really wondering how much of Antifa really is still around.
Well, like we said, there's a good chance that what we're seeing of that Antifa, where is it? Is it in Portland that the main thing we're seeing all over the news? How do we know that they're part of the 60,000 secret army Mike King talks about all the time in that Newsweek article, that Antifa hasn't been mapped out long ago and all swept up? We saw people in fatigues and stuff taking people out in convid, just pulling up in plain cars, getting out, taking them away, maybe they're all gone. And what we're seeing, Antifa, is pantomime, said Charlie Ward, and they're actually patriot military, right? Playing another part.
That makes much more
everything like that.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you want, you know, to keep the people safe, right, you have to keep this pantomime going while all these operations go, so that they're watching this sort of stuff. I mean, if there was loads of crap out in the streets and all that, you wouldn't really want to go out and get involved anyway, would you? We've had, I've been to so many protests, and we had 3 million English people out with that Tommy Robinson march, a month or so ago, and the BBC lied about it, said there was hardly any people there. Oh, the BBC's just got collared again, haven't they, for doctoring that Trump video? Yes. Yeah. We're going to march down to the Capitol, cut, and we're going to fight. Yeah, perfectly. Now, there's one of the great videos I told people to watch that is, I don't know if I can find it here in my history, that, there's a lot of people out there that still think Trump said drink bleach.
Oh,
yeah?
God. Yeah, I remember that. And you know what? Yeah.
Right? If anyone, right, goes on, this is on YouTube now, and goes and find this. It's on Politico's site. I used to only find it on BitChute. BitChute doesn't work in the UK now because we've been censored on that. So, which is why I'm promoting. But anyone in the United States or anywhere, if you go on my website, you can look at all my past videos and how much I've done on BitChute. That's where the main are. The first ones were YouTube. BitChute was the main bot, and now I'm building that Rumble channel. But you can see all those. I can't in the UK. I can see them, but I can't even play them. But go and find this video: BBC Lies and Fakery, editing and manipulating Trump, Sunlight and Breach press briefing. And then obviously I watched the whole presser, which is about an hour and a half long. You can see it unfolding. But that 11 minutes there, that bloke shows you exactly how they do it, how Pence came in and then Pence disappeared, how they cut 25 minutes out, clipped it all together in a 2-minute clip to make people think Trump, and Deborah cut to Deborah Burke's going, it is ridiculous what they did. But we were telling people that then, and people are still watching the BBC now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Outrageous. Just do your own research, people. That's what it's all about. Don't listen to listen to what we say, but don't take our word for it.
Right.
That's the whole point. The truth is learned, never told.
And a lot of people, like, if anybody new to the this way of thinking and awakening, and you say, well, where do I start? Just go back and watch some of the videos we've done. Look at who we always talk about, who we watch, and just start watching. Just start watching and answering some of the questions that you might have, or where you think maybe we don't make any sense. That's fine. Then do your research and see what you come up with and how you discern the truth.
Yeah, go on my Substack. Like I say, go to the bottom. Best shows I watch. And it's got about 15, 17, shall we say, podcasts there that I watch all week and try and keep up with as much as possible so that I can hold a conversation, basically, while we're sitting here live.
Yeah.
Going in and out of things. But those shows are amazing.
Yeah. And Telegram's another great thing, because, like, if you follow my channel, Awakened Patriots of Long Island, or Stu's, his Telegram, you're gonna get just scrolling through some of that, like, for a couple of hours, you're gonna be led to all different other shows and news clips and stories and other people's insights. A lot of these really great people that are out there that we put up a small clip from their TikTok or something, and it's just chock full of information or things that make you think.
It's a great reference library, Telegram, as well. You can go in there and search all channels. If you go into my channel, it's got a different search button. There's a big search there and a little search there. You can do that in everyone's channel. I've made about 150,000 posts in there since January 2021. It's got videos, pictures, all links to certain channels. And I even started up with a Gretniks group that I piggybacked all the doctors' information to help with jabs and cures and all natural things, and what Brian Ardis is saying, and Sherry Tenpenny and all these people talking about it. And it's amazing. But if you do follow my Telegram channel, Stu's News, QK Patriots, put it on mute, right? Because depending where you are in the world, people in the UK tell me I had to put your group on mute because it started going off ding, 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 ding.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're going to hear it all day.
So I won't be offended if you put it on mute. I've got most people's groups on mute anyway, you know.
Yeah.
Because
otherwise you get bombarded.
I'll probably make about 100 posts a day in there just to keep up with it.
Yeah.
And hopefully my mate, who's a bit of a computer genius, is setting up a program for me, because it's so much work to do it all in Telegram and then do it on Twitter and then trying to put the best bits into Facebook, what you can and stuff, setting me up a program that whatever I post in Telegram automatically goes over onto my Twitter. If that works, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. No, that's great. And if you have anyone, you know, besides yourself, my best suggestion would be, and I have it pinned on my Telegram, the documentary called The Fall of the Cabal. That's a great way to start introducing people that are new to this, to get an overview and a sense of the different aspects of what's happening and what has been happening.
Janet Ossibald, God rest her soul, if she is gone.
Maybe, right.
Obviously.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I love the way you leant in at the same time. Yeah. Have you seen the sequel to that? Because that was up to about part 29 as well.
Yes.
The Fall of the Cabal.
Oh my God. It just gets, yeah, the whole thing just gets more like deeper and deeper and deeper. It's a one, she did such an amazing job. But I do have to jump in like.
No, that's brilliant. Look, we'll finish it up here. I shall play that 6-minute video then, because that is amazing. Have I just got it set in there? Yeah, this is by Justin Bellucci, Trump sign and running. It's got lots of connotations to the child trafficking and stuff, but we've seen so much stuff over these last 4 or 5 years, 6, 7, 8 years, people paying attention. That it's just amazing, and it keeps you going and stuff. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. We've had a few people watching today and stuff. Thanks, Kat, for your comments. Can't wait to speak to you on Tuesday. Love you, Elisa.
Yes, love you too. And we'll see you again on Tuesday.
Brilliant. Thanks everyone. Where we go, one we go all. Never forget. That means all of us. Right. See you later.
Remember this. Nothing worth doing ever, ever, ever came easy. Following your convictions means you must be willing to face criticism from those who lack the same courage to do what is right. And they know what is right, but they don't have the courage or the guts or the stamina to take it and to do it. It's called the road less traveled. What imprint will you leave in the sands of history? What will future Americans say we did in our brief time right here on Earth? Take the children and yourself and hide out in the cellar. By now the fighting will be close at hand. Don't believe the church and state and everything they tell you. Believe in me, I'm with the high command. My administration is 100% committed to eradicating human trafficking from the earth, this form of modern-day slavery here in the United States and all around the world. We are dismantling the criminal organizations that make large-scale human trafficking possible. We will not rest until we've stopped every last human trafficker and liberated every last survivor. Just inside the doorway. Use it only in emergency. Better you should pray to God, the Father and the Spirit will guide you and protect you from up here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me running?
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. There is nothing the political establishment will not do, no lie that they won't tell, to hold their prestige and power at your expense. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Whether we are black or brown or white, we all bleed the same red blood of patriots. When America is united, America is totally unstoppable. There should be no fear. We are protected, and we will be protected by God. Did we challenge accepted wisdom and take on established systems? I think I did, but we all did, and we're all doing it. Or did we just go along with convention, swim downstream so easily with the current, and just give in because it was the easy way, it was the traditional way, or it was the accepted way? I know that each of you will be a warrior for the truth, will be a warrior for our country and for your family. And as long as America remains true to its values, loyal to its citizens, and devoted to its creator, then our best days are yet to come. I can promise you that.